For the first time since 1963, the Wallabies beat the Springboks at Ellis Park, but they didn't just beat them, they humiliated them. 38 unanswered points. But I don't think this is a bad thing. I actually think this is an incredible opportunity for the Springboks. I'm going to break down exactly why this is a good thing that happened to the Springboks. If you're new around here, this channel is all about South African rugby. My name's Jordan Burrs. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave this video a like, and as always, drop your opinions on the game down in the comments. Now, normally what happens after a test match is I release my post-match thoughts, but I didn't want to do it yesterday because I still felt quite hot and heavy about the results, and I needed some time to sort of break it down. I didn't want to get on here and be all emotional about losing the way that the Springboks did. I wanted to bring you guys a proper opinion of what I thought about the game and why it's actually a good thing for the Springboks. Now, I mean, let's be frank about it. 38 points to 22 is an absolute hiding that the Springboks received, especially after being 22-0 points up. For the first 18 minutes of that game, the Springboks looked unstoppable. The new attacking Tony Brown system was working phenomenally well with Kurtley Arendse, Khaleesi and Esterhuizen all getting over for tries. We were really spreading Australia, beating them on the outside, and when we didn't beat them on the outside, we beat them on the inside because we had spread them so much. Australia then sort of get themselves a little bit back into the game, the scoreline being 22 points to 5, and then all hell breaks loose in that second half. The Springboks continue with this attacking style, wide sort of attacking game that's trying to stretch Australia, but it didn't work. Australia intercepted a pass from Manie Libbok, which I believe really changed the game. It changed the flow of the game. Our defensive structure didn't work. Australia got around us, they got through us, they got over us and in between us. So there's a lot to break down in this video. From going from absolute hero to zero within sort of 60 minutes is what the Springboks did. And I'm going to try and give you my best opinion of why I think this happened and why it's actually a good thing for the Springboks moving forward. So let's first break down why the collapse of the Springboks happened in that second half. First of all, breakdown inaccuracies. Second of all, poor lineout success. Only 63% of our own lineouts were won. 26 missed tackles and 17 turnovers handed Australia 3 points. When you think about the Springboks being the #1 team in the world, you think about accuracy, you think about ruthlessness, you think about a Springbok team that doesn't give an inch. Normally in World Cups, the Springboks maybe concede 1 or 2 tries during the whole campaign. They conceded far more than that on Saturday against Australia. And it's almost like they sort of put their hands up in the air. They kind of ran themselves off their own feet. And what makes Springbok rugby was not shown on Saturday. And we're starting to move away from that because of Tony Brown. I'm not saying that it's Tony Brown's fault. I think that we overplayed into Tony Brown's system on Saturday. I can't really remember that many times that the Boks just bashed it up, that got onto the front foot. All we tried to do was send it from coast to coast, and there was no direct rugby. That's what makes the Springboks and the bomb squad so effective, is the fact that they can run straight at you for 40, 50 minutes. The forwards can give absolutely everything, and then we bring on another 6 fresh forwards, and they continue that pace or pick it up a level. But playing a 5-3 split and using our backline as much as we did goes against everything that we've been taught as Springbok fans. The bomb squad has become famous because of our forward dominance, and on Saturday we strayed far away from that, using our backline way too much, trying to spread Australia too much, and not having an impact and direct rugby that makes Springbok rugby. We also had so many defensive issues. I mean, Jerry Flannery's defense system got exposed. Wingers were left in no man's land. It's very similar to when we played England back in 2018, and it's crazy that I'm going to reference 2018 once or even twice in this video, which is probably one of the darkest periods of Springbok rugby. We were #1 in the world going into this test match against Australia. We've now dropped out of that, and now we're referencing test matches that were played in 2018. This is by far the worst second half performance by a Springbok team in the Rassie Erasmus era, and it comes down to a couple of things. We went away from our DNA, we had defensive problems, leadership and decision making was costly. Yes, Libbok had a phenomenal 18 first minutes, but then like I said, when that intercept pass came through, everything kind of changed. We didn't have the cool heads of Damien Delende and Andre Pollard on the field to kind of just say, boys, let's just relax. Let me pop you a ball, go hit it up. Let me pop you a ball, hit it up. Let me kick deep. Let's chase properly. So there's a couple of glaring issues, and I'm sure the Springboks are going to sort them out over the next couple of days. And for me, why I'm glad I waited and didn't put out a video yesterday is because Rassie Erasmus' reaction kind of said everything that it needed to say. Rassie Erasmus called that performance dog shit. Those were his words. He called it embarrassing, and one of the most embarrassing press conferences that he's ever had to do. No matter what I say, no matter what video I put out, I couldn't send as much of a message as what Rassie Erasmus did in that press conference. Why I liked it is that he took accountability and responsibility, and the Springboks know how much pressure they're under. Being number one, being as famous as they are in South Africa, being commercially monetized the way that they're currently being commercially monetized at the moment, there's a lot of pressure around winning. And they're going to feel that this week. There's going to be a lot said about that performance, from me included, from especially overseas, New Zealand, Australia, the UK. But for Rassie Erasmus to sit there with no ego and say that this falls on the coach's shoulders first and then the players, and they're going to go look at themselves, is exactly why Rassie Erasmus is in charge and how he got us out of the dark place in sort of the 2017 and 2018 years. So I've said everything that we did kind of wrong in that game. I'm going to tell you why this is actually a good thing for the Springboks. If you're a Springbok fan, you know that we perform best when we are the underdogs. Now, I'm not saying this was part of the plan. It wasn't. We were probably meant to beat, after those first 80 minutes, we all thought we were going to beat Australia by 40, 50, 60 points. And they gave us a massive reality check. The Springboks and South Africans need something to play for. So yes, they broke our 8-game winning streak. Yes, we were number one in the world. Yes, we've won back-to-back World Cups. But now it's almost like that aura of the Springboks that they can beat anyone, that they can find a way to win, is almost gone within 60 minutes of rugby. Now we are the underdogs. Now we need to go perform this week in Cape Town and beat Australia by 20, 30, 40 points. And I think that's coming. But now, why this is a good thing, in my opinion, is that we are going to New Zealand now with something to play for. If we had beaten Australia back-to-back, we would have gone to New Zealand. There wouldn't have been that much to play for. We were the sort of favourites going in, which is crazy that people were talking about us as favourites going to New Zealand. Now Australia have humbled us. Now we need to go to New Zealand and prove to the world, to ourselves, to the rugby community, who the Springboks are, and what better way to be underdogs going to New Zealand once you've just got a hiding by Australia, beating them at Eden Park and beating them at Wellington. We've got a chip on our shoulder, and we're going to go to New Zealand and we're going to try and beat them and correct our wrongs. Why this is also a good thing is because it's exposed our weaknesses very early. The Rugby World Cup's only in 2027. Imagine this happened during a Rugby World Cup campaign. It would have been disastrous. Where now we still have the best part of 2 years to sort of figure all of this out before the next Rugby World Cup. Big issues that we have, our lineouts. Throwing. Marks and Mbanambe are under some massive pressure, and this, I wouldn't be surprised if Marnus van der Merwe starts against Australia. But Bongi hasn't looked good in the first 5 test matches, and I think there's a lot of pressure on him because they're trying to find that third replacement hooker, and I think Marnus van der Merwe could even shift into that second or first position depending on how Marks and Bongi respond to that game. The next weakness it exposed is that there's a lack of breakdown balance without Van Staden and Kwagga. They were phenomenal. Not phenomenal. They were okay compared to the rest. They were better than the rest, but our breakdown was sloppy. We didn't secure ball. There were far too many turnovers, and our defensive structure under Flannery is still getting tested. Can you imagine what New Zealand would have done to us if we played like that against them, or Ireland? It would have been disastrous. So yes, the Springboks got humbled by Australia, but I do think if we look at the long term, this is the best thing that could have happened to the Springboks. Maybe we were flying a little bit too close to the sun. Maybe our egos were a little bit too big. Australia humbled us. Our backs are against the wall, and that is the most dangerous spot for a South African and a Springbok fan and a Springbok player to be in, because now we've got a point to prove. We're going to come and we're going to beat Australia by a lot in Cape Town, and then we're going to go to New Zealand, and that has just made that New Zealand series even more spicy. So it's going to be okay. I'm here to tell you it's going to be okay as Springbok fans. A team announcement for Australia drops tomorrow, but I thought I'd give you my thoughts sort of a day on from the game once everything has cooled down a bit. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Leave this video a like, and as always, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.